Cole, and I've chosen two historical individuals to be inducted into the Hall of Fame and Hall of Shame for the history of the United States of America. Former slave Harriet Tubman has been chosen to enter the Hall of Fame, and the individual chosen to be inducted into the Hall of Shame is John Brown. While both of these people both wished for black equality in the 19th century, one of them was not so wise when it came to trying to change the society.
Let's start with the one selected for the Hall of Fame, which is Harriet Tubman. Born in Maryland in 1820 and passing away nearly a century later, Tubman helped hundreds of slaves escape slavery through the Underground Railroad during her lifetime.
Hi, what's your name?
JoJo Robinson.
And why do you think Harriet Tubman should be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
I think she should be inducted into the Hall of Fame because she was very influential as both a woman and an abolitionist. And even though she caused no harm while she was freeing slaves, she still got a lot done for the freedom of slaves.
Tubman grew up on a Maryland farm, owned as a slave, and was forced to work long hours and was even brutally beaten. She finally fled in 1849 and had to leave everyone behind that she loved in the process. She was very ambitious and returned back to the South at least 19 times to save her family and friends from slavery. She was so successful that she never had any slaves she rescued turn back around or get captured and returned. Besides risking her life to free slaves and travel to the North, Tubman also helped the Union during the Civil War and served as a nurse, scout, and spy for the people. She nursed people back to health in Florida and North and South Carolina who were of all races, both white and black. Now we have the Hall of Shame winner, John Brown. Just like Harriet Tubman, Brown longed for abolitionism and equality for African Americans. But however, he thought using extremely violent and forceful acts would get him what he wanted. His most famous attack was the raid on Harper's Ferry, and on October 16, 1959, John Brown and the men he planned this with raided and overran the Federal Arsenal in Harper's Ferry, Virginia. They captured several hostages, including some slaves, and during the attack, 10 of Brown's men were killed, including 2 of his own sons. His acts of violence shocked the entire nation, and he was captured the day of his raid, and then convicted for treason and murder and hanged on December 2nd of 1859.
Okay, what's your name?
Carlos Velez.
And why do you think John Brown should be inducted into the Hall of Shame?
I think John Brown should be inducted into the Hall of Shame because his raid on Harper's Ferry. I think history has shown that you can get a lot more done with peaceful protests like Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. instead of more violent ones such as raids.
Besides the raid on Harper's Ferry, Brown committed several other violent acts in hopes of ending slavery. He had created a small group of men, or an army as he would call it, to increase slave rebellion and influence slave owners to free them. Him and his 4 sons, and 2 other men as well, once murdered 5 pro-slavery settlers among Pottawatomie Creek, among several other violent acts he committed during his lifetime. Despite all of this, he did gain some support by extremists in the North who believed he had good intentions. This just further pushed the United States into chaos, however, and gave more people the idea of using violence as an answer to solve problems. But most people considered him to be crazy and mentally ill, and even abolitionists agreed he had taken it way too far. John Brown should be inducted into the Hall of Shame because of his extremely violent and aggressive ways of getting what he wanted, which put a negative impact on the nation's society. Harriet Tubman was an incredible abolitionist leader, while John Brown was the complete opposite.